Mike in Alabama. Thanks for holding. You're on the air.
Hey, Alex, Semper Fi, bud. I wanted to call you about 20 years ago. I've got a friend, his dad spent 27 years in the Special Forces, and he told us back then they'd been told in a briefing that eventually the borders would be watered down or disassembled to the point that floods of illegal immigrants would be coming across the Mexican border, not just Mexicans, but from all over South America.
When was this?
This was the early 90s.
Yeah.
And I didn't think much about it then, you know, but seeing what's going on now, it recalled that, and I said, oh, man, he was right. And these people knew about that then because they had told them in briefings about it. And about the same time, I was being trained, changed branches. I was being trained as a medic, and they told us in our briefings that we were going to see diseases that had been, or were starting to see already, diseases that had been eradicated for 40 or 50 years in this country were coming back into the country now because the illegals don't go through a medical screening or anything.
Wow, this is intriguing. Stay there. I'm going to come back to you, Mike. From the water table to our soils to the atmosphere itself, our world is becoming more and more toxic each and every day. But it's not just the air outside that's toxic. Indoor air has been shown to have 2 to 5 times higher concentrations of pollutants than even outdoor air. And most Americans spend 90% of their time inside using toxic chemicals within their homes. There are more than 42 million smokers in the United States. Well over 1,000 types of mold and mildew linked to numerous conditions. And don't forget the fact that 6 million Americans live with pets they're allergic to as well. When I began to research these statistics, it was clear to me it was time to start cleansing my lungs in order to combat the toxic environment that we cannot escape, but that we can fight back against. Made with organic and wild cultivated herbs and manufactured in the USA, the new InfoWars Life Lung Cleanse is here in a convenient spray bottle that can be brought with you throughout any toxic environment. Now available exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139.
Hey, now you can watch The Alex Jones Show live as it happens at Infowars.com/show.
The new Colossus, Emma Lazarus, 1883. Speaking of the Statue of Liberty, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe. Free the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. And people think that's what America's creed is. That was just a quote by someone. But 2/3 of the immigrants got turned back if they had criminal records or diseases. Now it's, if you're criminals, if you have diseases, please come. Was talking to Mike in Alabama, who said when he was in the military they got briefings on this. Well, I know that's for a fact, actually. Interesting to get it from him back in the early 90s. But then you were talking about what they said when you became a medic. Any other points on that subject?
Yeah, well, just like I said, that we'd see diseases that had been eradicated 40 and 50 years ago in the U.S., and they would be coming back, and we're seeing that too. And then one thing that's on a little different subject, I read a book about this time. It was by a retired NASA guy, and he was saying something that in '69, Alex, that in the Sino-Soviet border war, that the Russians had used a battlefield tactical nuke against the Chinese to break off the conflict because they were more concerned about NATO in the West than they were trying to, slug it out with China man to man. And that's the only time I've ever read it. And I don't know if any of your other listeners have ever read that same book. I can't find it.
I'm not familiar with that. I know that it's been declassified that the Chinese and the Russians came to the U.S. and wanted the U.S. to nuke the other and take out the other. So it is a 3-way power block. That's undoubtedly going on. None of these people trust each other. It's a mess. Let's talk to Fox. Thanks for the call. Good points. Have a great weekend. By the way, I'll be back this Sunday live, 4 to 6 p.m. in studio Central. Please join us for the Sunday edition. Fox in California, listening on KSCO 1080 AM. I should mention where these folks call in from, so be sure and mention it when you call in. You're on the CPS, Child Protective Services. Go ahead.
Alex, thank you so much for being there. I pray for you, your family, and your crew daily.
Thank you.
I encourage you to get a hold of Julian Jerry Dominguez, who wrote the book, A Culture of Fear, an inside look at Los Angeles County's Department of Children and Family Services. It is a whistleblower. It tells how insidious they work. And it also
let's get them on. Guys, get that guest on. I've heard of that book. And again, you've got private social workers, individual social workers in some areas that aren't bad people. But in certain big cities and other areas, it's literally child molesters, criminals. The worst place for a kid to be is in government custody statistically.
Santa Cruz stole my granddaughter May 30th. They called it adoption, but it was stealing. They ran it through, didn't let me or my attorney know about it. We were filing JV 180s, 183, and 184. They took the complaints, they took the paperwork, and with a smirk, they knew that my granddaughter had already been stolen.
Yeah, that's how it works, because they can get millions for them in the aggregate. And again, grandparents should get the kids, but no, unbelievable. So they're going to change the granddaughter's name and everything.
I encourage you to get a hold of Karen. That's Karen with a C-A-R-I-N Johnson of Walnut Creek. She's one of 5 attorneys who actually fight for children and families in dependency court. And Robert R. Powell of San Jose, California, he sues the agency for children who have been abused and who have died in custody.
Oh, I know. You're 7 times more likely, even Time Magazine had to admit, to be abused or killed in CPS custody. It is the most dangerous place. And really crazy video and story we didn't get to, but Colorado sheriffs search every vehicle at a checkpoint following a concert shooting. All new Android and Windows phones will have kill switch. Unbelievable. Democrats and Republicans agree Iraq needs to be reinvaded. Really bad news. Obama considers airstrikes in Syria on terrorists they fund. And we have another article. We know the whereabouts of the lost IRS emails. Very important story. That's just some of the news up on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. Let's go to Jordy in New York. Jordy, you're on the air.
Hey, Alex. I'm a long-time listener, and I just want to talk about the veterans.
Yes, sir.
I have family members who served in the military, and that really makes me sick when I see the commercials and propaganda on TV, just quite frankly trying to brainwash the public. And I really have to turn the channel or just turn it off altogether, because it's nothing but mind control and say what, do what we say and everything's going to be fine, when really they're trying to destroy us and take all of our liberties. And I think, the people in Congress should, owe the American people a duty to tell the truth and not be cowardice and bullied by these banker criminals.
I agree with you. I mean, they're cutting off any type of health care for the veterans, and the illegal aliens get instant health care and everything else. And again, it's not about the illegal aliens. It's not even about hating these poor people, victims of globalism and corruption. It's that it's being used like a strip mining weapon. Water's a good thing, as I said, but high powered will cut you in half. They're just spraying them at us, and they don't know. They just know they're getting a handout from the government. They'll vote as they're told. It's a nightmare situation. Good to hear from you, Jordy. Peter in North Carolina, thanks for calling in. You're on the air.
Alex, pleasure to speak with you, man.
Good to talk to you.
And I won't be long here. I want to get you on your weekend. But I guess you had Stanley Monteith on the other day. And after I heard your interview with him, it caused me to go to YouTube and watch a couple of his speeches, and I was fascinated by him. I guess my question...
Yeah, let's get Monteith on for a full hour next week if he can do it.
Yeah, guy's brilliant and profound. Anyway, the question to you is, he would go on a lot of the speeches and go back to Plato's Republic and basically say how he would only teach the enlightened folks certain things and all his other students something else. But who is the head of the snake? He would say it's not the Illuminati.
It's the devil.
Not the Bilderberg.
It's the devil.
Exactly. Okay. How simple that is, but profound. Wow.
But see, the devil set it up then. I say it's the devil. People run out to the churches, but what did Christ tell you? The churches of his day were where the worst people were. I mean, the one time Christ got mad and overturned tables and beat people with a whip was where? A church, a synagogue. Not even the practitioners weren't bad. It was the people up there running it were a den of vipers, he said. And I mean, you know, these churches are just horrible, most of them. I mean, they are unbelievably bad. I found a few good ones in Austin, but a great point. So we're going to have Monteith back on. He's a real treasure, and I want to do a full hour. You should tell him on Plato's Republic, The Nature of Reality, maybe with David Knight someday. David Knight's going to do a couple days next week. Let's talk to Kevin. You got about 40 seconds. Sorry, the other callers. We're out of time. Kevin, go ahead.
How you doing, Alex? I got 3 personal incidents I just wanted to tell you about that happened. Make them real quick. 2 times going on vacation with my wife. Regular-looking guy, no criminal record, jeans, sneakers, you know, crew cut, standing on lines. TSA, you want to step out, please? Come with us. I go into a private room with my wife and my son. He was a little guy. Take off your sneakers. I'm sitting on a stool. I take my sneakers off. They're babbling away, right? So my wife's looking at me like, what gives? I'm like, I'm looking back at her like, I don't know. Finally, my wife gets ticked, and my son says, Mommy, why are the men making Daddy take his sneakers off?
Powerful if you missed it. The video is on Paul Watson's channel, Prison Planet Live. And if you're a radio listener and want to be able to see it, it's titled, Are You Dumb or Are You Mad as Hell? But right now, let's go back to Kevin in Pennsylvania. So they pull you aside. They got your shoes off. Your son asks, what's going on with Daddy? And you say, this is slave training, son. These people think they're fighting to stop terrorists, but the government runs the terrorists. This is here to train the general public that we're all prisoners and that the state is God. But let's go back to what happened to you at that point.
Basically, you know, my wife's ticked too, so she says out loud, I think they're looking for drugs in Daddy's sneakers. So they get like kind of embarrassed, and they look at me, they said, all right, get dressed, go back. Second time I'm going on vacation, standing in line, you know, waiting to get the tickets. I get pulled out of the line. I get brought up front. The guy taking the tickets says, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm going on vacation. There's 2 guys. Now, he really spoke broken English, right? There's 2 suits sitting in back of him. I look at them and I say, I'm an American. This guy's going to question me, and he can't even speak English. I was like, it's ridiculous. All of a sudden, same thing. They felt embarrassed. They said, all right, go back in the line. Another thing happened to me, Alex, about, 3 months ago. I'm on the phone, AT&T line, calling my sister, Verizon line. What happened was they shut down my wife's insurance. I was ticked, you know, the old Obama thing. So out of frustration, venting to my sister on the phone, I said, you know, forget JFK. They should shoot somebody else in the head. And I was referring to our commander-in-chief. You know, you get heated, you say stupid things, whatever. Hang up, blah, blah, blah. 2 days later, Alex, as God is my witness, doorbell rings. I go outside. It's the police. How you doing, sir? Okay, how are you? Everything all right? Yeah, everything's okay. Didn't I ask what's going on, why you're here? Does shoot something, blah, 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 in the head ring a bell? I'm like, come again?
So they sent the police and not the Secret Service.
2 days later, Alex, 2 days, and I said, I see the NSA works good. So he said, sir, is everything all right? I said, look, they shut down my wife's health insurance. I was ticked off.
Here's the deal. The system's so criminal. Talk to the hand. It's a felony that they're listening. Obama last week told the cops, don't tell the public what's going on. It's totally illegal. For those of us that are awake, it's meant to scare us not to speak out because we know what's going on. Others don't know what's going on. It's totally criminal. And Obama's a puppet. It's obviously a figure of speech. But we don't want anything to happen to him. It'll turn him into a martyr. But yes, this is going on. This has happened in France where people send a text. Or in America, people sent texts making jokes saying America's the bomb, and then people come. It's horrible. So how did it end with the police? We only got a few seconds.
Basically, he said to me, everything okay? I said, yeah. He said, venting, huh? And I told him she had the insurance canceled. He said, oh, she did. And
But see, why are they listening to your phone? That's the issue. They're engaged in felonies with computers listening that flag them. 10 seconds. How did it end?
Basically, everything okay, sir? Yeah. Just venting? Yeah. Have a nice day.
All right, brother. We got to go.
You are watching the best of The Alex Jones Show, weekdays from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central. Watch live at Infowars.com/show or become a member of InfoWarsNews.com and help us take resistance to the next level.